All right, guys. So today, I told you guys, if you were here yesterday, today was a little bit of a continuation of yesterday. The first thing I want to do is start off with saying this. Okay. I really want you guys to be men. Men in every sense of the word. Okay. Real men are responsible. They're not perfect. Real men are. Okay. Weak men give up. And you can give up at certain times, but you have to learn not to do that because that's weak. Weak men walk away. Okay? Real men are responsible. Real men cry. Real men, unlike popular belief, listen to their hearts and not their egos. It takes a real man to do that. Your heart will tell you when something's wrong. When you do something wrong, your heart tells you. Your heart speaks to you. If you're saved, you have the Spirit of God with you. Your heart is part of your spirit. It's part of God's image. Okay? Your heart will tell you, man, that was messed up. Why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Your heart will tell you, man, why am I lying like that? That's not truth. That's not true. Why am I saying that? Your heart will tell you, but you won't listen to it. You'll ignore your heart. Real men will listen to their heart, will listen to the Spirit of God in them, and it will cause them to be humble. A real man will get past what their head tells them. Your head tells you this. No, that ain't tough, man. That ain't tough. I ain't going to do that. That's your head talking. Your heart's hurting, actually. Your heart wants to draw closer to God, but your head tells you, nah, that's. Do you understand what I'm saying? A real man, that's what I want for you guys to be. I want you to be real men and real men of God. A real man knows God. A real man fears God. A weak man doesn't know God. A weak man, it seems opposite, right? A weak man says, I don't need God. That's what a weak man does. It takes a really strong man to admit they need God. And I want you to be real men, okay? Yesterday, I told you about my motivation for ministry. My motivation for ministry it didn't start with good things. I didn't want to be a pastor because I was raised in the church. It was actually quite the opposite. Did not want to be a pastor. That was the farthest thing from what I wanted to do. And it wasn't the good things in the church or Jesus dying on the cross and rising from the dead. That wasn't my motivation for wanting to be a pastor. I thought I knew all of that, but that wasn't it. What motivated for me to be a pastor was evil. I started to experience darkness. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Yeah, it seems funny, but it wasn't funny at the time. When I was arrested, I was in the Rampart Station in LA, downtown LA, being charged with a felony possession of controlled substance. I should have got at least 6 months minimum. I should have a record on my account, but the DA threw out my case, rejected my case. I got a free pass, a new start in life. And that was kind of my wake-up call. It led me to this question because I was battling things that it's very hard to explain. People that don't go through that kind of like mental affliction. It was spiritual too at the time. I didn't realize it. It's really hard for people to understand that if you've never been through it. Maybe you guys have and you don't know it, but it was apparent to me because I couldn't function socially. I could not function socially. I don't know if you can imagine that. I couldn't go to class. I couldn't go grocery shopping because I just couldn't take it. I was being afflicted. And I didn't know where it came from. But then when I started to open my eyes to see that there are other things, and I showed you guys a video yesterday, but I won't go through the whole video. But
so we've been learning about spiritual beings in the Bible, and I still have a lot of questions.
I'll put it up in a group chat so you guys can follow. It's only like a 5 minute thing. Okay. You want to see it?
Start in the beginning. In Genesis 1, God creates a beautiful, ordered reality out of darkness and disorder so that life can flourish. He appoints humans as his representatives to rule over all of it, and 7 times God calls it good.
Yeah, I experience that kind of goodness often in the world, in things like beauty and truth, love and generosity.
in Genesis 3, we meet a creature who's in a state of rebellion against his creator. We're not told yet why or how he rebels, but he's on a mission to ruin God's good world for other creatures.
This thing is trouble.
Yeah, this creature is the Bible's first portrait of evil. It distorts what God has purposed for good, ruining and dragging creation back into darkness and disorder.
So the humans join the spiritual rebel, which leads them back into chaos and death.
And from this point on, the human rebellion is interwoven with a spiritual rebellion. And the biblical story shows how this happens over and over again.
Okay, but wait. We're getting all this from a slithering snake?
Well, there are clues in the story that it's more than just a snake. Remember, Eden is a high place where the earth and its creatures overlap with heaven and its creatures.
So this snake could be a spiritual being.
Well, Genesis 3 points in that direction, and then later biblical authors fill in the picture. Like when the prophet Isaiah has a vision of God's heavenly throne room, he's surrounded and being praised by the spiritual beings.
Yeah, these are the cherubim around God's throne.
But when Isaiah sees these creatures, he describes them as seraphim, which in Hebrew means snake.
Ah, so the snake is like a former staff member in God's throne room. So why is he talking to the humans?
Well, the prophet Ezekiel understood this figure as a spiritual rebel who didn't want to live under God's wisdom and authority. He wanted to be God.
All right, that's the same temptation the snake puts before Adam and Eve.
Exactly. He says they could rule the world like God, but by their own wisdom.
So they're all kicked out of the garden.
Yeah, God says this rebel will now crawl on its belly.
Where does it go after this?
Well, the biblical authors offer subtle clues where this being is at work behind the scenes, animating division and hatred between humans. They also use a variety of images to describe this being. It's a snake, or a sea dragon, or a dark desert creature, or the king of death and the grave. He's also given many titles, like Tempter, or the Evil One, or the Devil, which in Greek means the slanderer.
But his name is Satan, right?
Actually, no. Satan is not a name. It's another one of these titles, which is why in Hebrew it has the word the in front of it. The Satan means the adversary, because he isn't for anything, rather he's anti-everything, working through lies to drag us back into darkness and disorder.
That's intense. Now, what about these other spiritual rebels in the Bible called demons? What are they all about?
Okay, so remember the concept of God's heavenly staff team, the divine council, or the sons of God. In the Hebrew scriptures, we're told that some of these rebelled too.
When did that happen?
Multiple times, actually. After the snake comes the rebellion of the sons of God in Genesis 6. We're told that they have sex with women who then give birth to violent warrior giants.
Oh, right. The Nephilim. These are probably the strangest characters in the whole Bible.
Well, strange from your point of view, but ancient readers knew exactly what was going on.
Okay. You can watch the rest of that. Why? You wanted to watch the rest of that? Okay, I'll send it to you. You guys can watch it. So let me paraphrase it, okay? The Nephilim in Genesis 6, okay? So before the flood, this is archaeology. I'm just going to give you one little tidbit of a fact, and then I'll move forward. But before the flood, there were civilizations that got wiped out. The temples in Inca, in the Mayan temples, dated to places where mankind wasn't supposed to be able to develop those things. Does that make sense? The pyramids. So there's a biblical explanation for how that all got formed. There were superhumans before the earth was wiped out. Civilizations were actually in existence. Okay, have you heard of the dry impact theory? Okay, so it's an archaeologist who's now being ostracized by the archaeological community because they're saying he's talking about myth and mythology, but he's saying that there's so much evidence for a worldwide flood. It's everywhere. And it explains where all the civilizations went. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like who built the pyramids? Like it's a mystery, right? And there's in the pyramid area, there's water runoff that's consistent with a catastrophic flood. The Grand Canyon is another example. Grand Canyon doesn't happen from millions and millions and millions of years of the Colorado River. Do you know that the Colorado River actually sits beneath the Grand Canyon? I mean, above the Grand Canyon in elevation. Anyway, that's just never mind. Anyway, the whole point is this, okay? I didn't understand that, didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in the spiritual reality of darkness, and I didn't see all of these things that were coming from my heart. I didn't know where the source of it was, and I didn't know that there was a being or forces working behind the scenes. And that was my motivation when God started to open my eyes to it. And I started to see it everywhere. I started to see the world that was full of darkness, the world that is acted upon by spiritual forces, and me too, and you as well. That's one thing I want to relay to you today, is that there is an enemy, is an adversary. The Satan, your adversary is not a friend, it's not a game. Okay, it's not your opponent. He's your enemy. And he wants to destroy you. He doesn't care who wins. The good guys, quote unquote, or the bad guys, it doesn't matter who wins, as long as we're killing each other, as long as he can divide us, as long as he can cause some division within us. That's his goal. Doesn't matter who's right or wrong, as long as we destroy each other and kill each other. And that's what's happening. That's what wars are. That's what wars are, and that's what's happening. And there is this darkness working in the world. There's also goodness. Also at the same time, at the same token, there's evil, there's good, there's spiritual forces of darkness, and there's spiritual forces of goodness. Angels, I believe them 100%. Didn't before, 100% I believe. And you can say that Donald Trump was shot and it was just by luck. But he doesn't move at that split second. The bullet hits his skull right here. I mean, I've seen animations of it. And that's, you could say that or not, but the main thing of why I believe is because there's something that happened in history. Okay, and we went over, today's Sunday's message was take up your cross. That was our message, but it is true. We should take up our cross, but we take up our cross because we deserve death because of our sin. And what happens is the moment we take that cross up to follow Jesus, he takes it from us. The cross, our cross, he says, okay, I'll take that. And what Jesus gets nailed to is not his cross, it's ours. Okay, that's what we deserve. He doesn't deserve that. Not even close. He deserves a throne. He is worthy of worship and praise and respect and honor. He does not deserve that cross, but he takes it because it's our cross that he takes. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you want to be a believer and follower of Jesus, you have to first realize you have sin, that you are not worthy to enter the courts of heaven, not even close, and that you're a sinner, and because of your sin, you deserve a cross. You deserve death. That's the starting point. If you don't come to that conclusion, you can't be a believer. You can't be a follower of Christ. If you think that, I'm good. I'm not as bad as certain people. Dang, I'm not as bad as those people. I'm all right. That doesn't get you into God's goodness. You can't be a follower of Christ like that. A lot of people are following Christ that way. But at the end, he's going to be like, no, sorry. You have to make a confession that you realize that I don't have it in me. I'm not good enough. Okay, no one is. There's no one righteous, not even one. There's no one who does good, not even one. And you have to realize because of your sin, you deserve death. And you have to carry that. But the moment you carry it, this is your cross, okay? The moment you're like, okay, you make that admission, Jesus says, oh, good, that's all I needed. It's mine. I'll take that. It's what we deserve. It's what you deserve, what I deserve. And Jesus is like, I'll take that. And that's what's displayed in history. Jesus, who claimed to be God, walked on this earth, lived a perfect life, nailed to a cross, dying a sinner's death. And that cross is our cross. Does that make sense? So because of our sin, because we can't be with God, Jesus atones for it. He pays for it. And how do you have the root of all this pride, foolishness, all this stuff, okay? Fornication, adulteries, all of it. All the evils that come from defile us, okay? The root of all that is sin, and Jesus comes to forgive us of our sins. So how do you get the remission of that sin? He sacrifices himself. I know I won't get into too much detail, but that's what the whole Bible is about. All the Old Testament priests and lambs, all of the blood and slaughter that happened in the Old Testament where it was covering our sins, Jesus' blood washes them away. Past, present, future sins, all of it is washed away. baptism, what we did in Easter Sunday this year, is just a confession of that. You die, you go under the water, and you're born again. Okay? He sheds his blood, dies on the cross. Okay? For who? For the whole world. Okay? Because so God is a loving God. He's not going to force you. He might allow things to happen sometimes to kind of push you in that direction back to him. But his desire is that he wants to be with you. He wants a relationship with you. He wants to know you. I do too, but not even close. Not even close to how much God loves you. Not even close to how much God wants to be with you. Like he wants to be with you. Like he wants to be a part of your life. Like he wants to be a part of your decisions, part of your emotions, part of everything. And there's a being that does not want you to do that. Because he knows, the devil knows, your adversary knows that when you start building a strong relationship with Christ and with God, people are going to start noticing. It's going to, first of all, make you more complete. You're going to make you more satisfied. And people are going to start to notice. So this is the thing about forces of darkness. It's depicted in paintings. It's depicted in Hollywood. So it makes you desensitized. Does that make sense? If you see a lot of demonic stuff on TV, like exorcism or conjuring, it just kind of makes you feel like, oh yeah, it's just the movies. And you fall into that trap of like, it's not real. But it actually is. But you can't see it on a screen. It's not visible physically. Does that make sense? Scissor lock. Scissor lock is a kind of, it's called sleep paralysis. When you feel like there's some dark thing coming and you can't move and you can't talk. Have you ever experienced that before? No? Never experienced sleep paralysis? Where like you're there and you're like trying to talk, you're like, argh, and then something, it just feels evil. Something feels dark that's coming upon you. No? I've done it multiple times. Again, real men can admit it's not weak to be honest. It takes a strong man to be honest, actually. But there's evil, and the way that evil plays out is like this. And this is, anyone know what this is? That's one version and form of fentanyl. It looks like candy, right? And the result of that candy, okay, I'll just show, this is like a 30-second clip. This is actually Philadelphia, Kensington, Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. Huh? Oh, well, you were here yesterday, but they haven't seen it. Okay? That's real. That's not movies. That's not movie picture cameras. That's actually people, not acting like zombies. Okay? Those are actual people. Fentanyl has claimed the lives of more Americans than the First World War I and II combined. Okay? I'm going to show you this chart again. This is the depression rate. And I'm not just talking about sad depression, clinical depression that needs some assistance. 63% up from ages 12 to 17. Okay, it's getting higher in younger ages. The rate of suicide is getting higher, and the highest group now, which wasn't the case before, is ages 20 to 29. The highest rate of suicide, young people. Okay? And in media, while all this is happening, while people are dying of fentanyl, people are depressed, people are committing suicide at higher rates, at younger rates the whole time, the media and Hollywood portrays, this is the Super Bowl. You know who this is? Sam Smith. Who's that? Rihanna. Giving homage to Satan. And what's that? Huh? The Smurfs. That's this year's Olympics opening ceremony. Okay, and if you can connect the dots of what that picture is, there's a bunch of transgender drag queens, different stuff, all portraying the Last Supper. Yeah. Yeah, it's a feast of what? Right there, right? So this is the Lord's Supper. So just in case you were kind of like, nah, they weren't doing that. So one of the characters in that meal was Judas. And Judas got his head cut off because he hung himself, and his head fell off. And so that's one of the people sitting at that table. And the way that they're pictured and the way that they're who's in the middle and etc., it's unmistakable that that's what it is. But it's okay. So what they'll do is they'll call it art. They'll call it, no, we're just trying to do this, we're trying to do that. But why not do that with Islam or Buddhism or any of the hundreds and thousands of religions? Why don't they do a picture of that? Why does it have to be Christianity? Well, because it is the most well-known and famous and everything and stuff like that. But in the background, do anyone know what this is? This is a symbol for Satan. One of his forms, he's Behemoth. And this is our hero, Snoop Dogg, wearing a necklace of Behemoth. Okay? What is that? What's that? That's Eminem's new album drop. What's he doing there? Huh? What's this? It's devil horns, but it's what? It's paying homage to Satan. So again, you call it, they could call it art, they can call it this, they can call it that, but these are some of the songs on his I'm going to give him credit, benefit of the doubt. I'll listen to it and see if there's like a hidden thing that he's trying to do. But evil, Lucifer, Antichrist, I mean, it's pretty, and then some of the lyrics that I did hear were very disturbing, to say the least. I was just like, whoa, what? Okay, so this is probably the biggest attack that I feel is the abolition of sex. Changing God's ordained, biological, factual way that he created male and female to reproduce. Can a male and a male produce babies? No. Can a female produce babies? Why not? Because God didn't make it that way. It's the same thing with the animal kingdom as well. So if you were to do that, what would be the ultimate goal? So that people don't have kids, and if they are having kids, they'll just abort those kids. So abortion is also at the highest rate ever. Countries around the world are in danger of being extinct. You guys don't understand. I don't know if you understand that, but if each male and female don't have 1.3 kids, a little more than one kid, that race will be extinct. It's just a matter of time. But that's what's happening. Okay? Sexes are being blurred. Anyone know who this is? This is Leah Thomas. He has broken almost every woman's record. If you put him next to a girl swimmer, it's like, whoa, like what? It's disgusting. Okay? Okay? Look at that. How's that right, bro? How's that right? It's kind of funny, right? But it's not. If you're an athlete, if you're a female athlete, and they've come such a long way to get their own sports, they've come a long way. And now males are trying to come into women's sports. And look at this, bro. Come on. She's about to get, this lady right here, she looks like a mom, bro. This guy is about to rock her. Like, not in a good way. Okay? This is actually a real clip. Oh, you seen this one? Yeah, she's not playing volleyball anymore. She can't. That's a male, a biological male, full swing spike onto her head. It gets worse. This is a special forces, ex-special forces in the military becoming an MMA fighter. Male, fight female. The same thing on the other side. This guy's an army guy. He becomes a boxer as a female. And that's what happens in the ring. Biological men beating up on biological women. This is where we are. Okay? So it looks like. So I'm not going to show the whole fight. I'm going to show you this clip. Just in case you don't know who the male is. So when he needs her, she fractured her skull. And she's a big girl. She's a big girl. She's a big girl. Now listen to his voice. Okay. The worst part is this evil, the only thing I can think of, evil spawned by the forces of darkness. Okay? They're going after children. So children change their sexes and they don't produce babies. If you have a generation of kids that don't understand their God-given biological assignment and understand guys, children, boys, girls to boys, and even little children, spawned by their parents. This was a while ago. The first actual gender reassigning surgery performed, like actually taking out the organs and replacing them. Okay, she was 17 years old. She was the first teenager to do it. Now it's even younger. But that's her. That's him, now a her. All of it's gone. This gone, that gone, all of it. Okay? And while this is happening, what's the woke left agenda of abolishing sex and gender is all being sponsored by the richest people in the world. Okay, and I mentioned this on Sunday, but you know who that is? Jeff Bezos. He's the second richest man in the world. That's a picture of him coming down after going to space in a spaceship. Okay? And the richest people in the world, their ultimate goal, and I talked about this on Sunday too, in the first service, their goal now, all their billionaire money is being funded into what? What is their goal and what are they trying to do? Huh? They're trying to live forever. So research into science that can inject their cells with things that make them younger, even trying to create AI and things to house every part of who they are in their brain into a computer or into a robot. So foolish because they think that that's who they are. It's just brain and things firing in your brain. You put your brain in a computer and you put it into a robot, that's just a robot. Where's your soul? That's not you. But that's also, it's their futility of just trying to cheat death. But that's what's going on in the world today, okay, guys? In the background, by the way, those rich people, the billionaires, they would give all of their wealth if they could be you. 100%. A 75-year-old man about to die. He can't do it, though. That's what I'm saying. It's impossible. He would give you his wealth if he could be your age. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you could turn back the clock and give and take what you have. If you don't have money, it don't matter. That's what they're trying to do, guys. They're trying to cheat death. They want to be younger, but they can't. They want your body. They want your age. They'll trade all their money for it to be you. Okay? So realize, it's another way of me saying, realize the blessing that you have to be young. And really, carpe diem, really seize the day. Okay? And open your eyes. This is what's happening in the world today. It's in the Ukraine. This is the Gaza Strip. Those are cities that were like this. They were like Norwalk. They were like Anaheim. They were like LA. Now they look like that. Okay? While this is really happening in the world, okay, your adversary wants to keep you distracted, okay? I'm not saying you can't play games, but one of his strategies, and one of the strategies that were implemented when I was a kid too, I got hooked on just playing games. And what it did was it just distracted me. I didn't have time to think. I was always on my games, always on my consoles. And not only that, one of the biggest things, and to twist sex and make it something else, is pornography. It's a trap. There's no true satisfaction there. I'm a guy. There's no girls here. I know. You don't think I know? There's no satisfaction there. It's a split second and then it's gone. It's not real. But if you get addicted to it, what happens when you get addicted to porn, when you get addicted to that, whatever you want to call it, dopamine hit that's just a second, and it distorts how your relationship with women should be. And vice versa. Men and women, women to men. It distorts it. And when I told you guys a long time ago that I made the mistake of thinking that I had it easier when I was your age, it's not true. You guys have it much harder than me. When I was in elementary school, middle school, to get porn or to get any kind of pornographic material, any kind of thing, it'd have to be like a Playboy, it'd have to be a picture. And we would rip it out of magazines and we'd pass the picture along. And you'd be like, damn, oh yeah, damn, like that. And hey, and someone would come in, one of the friends would go, hey, I got my dad's penthouse. Yo, where? Let's go. And you go to the bathroom and everyone watch it and, whoa, damn, that's woo, like, And to get like a video, that would be like crazy. And when I was in high school, around high school, middle school, high school, there's something called Girls Gone Wild came out. Snoop was a big producer of that too. And it was just girls just being drunk and just flashing their boobs or whatever. And it became something that in society was acceptable. And it just twisted. It was sick. It's actually disgusting. If that was my daughter, and by the way, the girls that do this, when they wake up the next day, they completely regret it. Like, what the heck did I do? And there's cases now from that where girls are so traumatized by being drunk and not knowing what they're doing and flashing their boobs and then not being out in public. But that was it was a system put in place to groom my generation to be addicted to porn, to see it as acceptable, to see it something as like, that's good. And today, all of that power of media and porn and games and all that, it's held in your hands. It's so easy now. It was so hard before. That's why I'm saying it's harder for you guys to resist the temptation, to not fall into it, to not be enamored by it, to not let it destroy, to dirty your heart, your mind, okay? And all of its motivations, I'm telling you, it's the background of it is evil. This is what motivated me to want to be a pastor. And this is what also motivates me to keep going. But I'm so thankful that I have and we have a Lord, a God who's personal, who came to this earth, and he did something. Amen. He broke his ankles, bro. Look at the crossover. Not only did he break Satan's ankles, crush his head. Okay? So, what Jesus does, that's us. We go to Jesus, he takes our cross. And now what's remaining is you have to fight. Bro, what the heck? I put up the wrong one. Bro, that's the wrong one. Oh my gosh, guys. I did the wrong one. So we're going to have to do that next week. Okay? Next week, Armor of God Explained. Okay? All right? So just, guys, please do me a favor. Just try to take a minute or two out of your day and devote it to God. Just think. Look at the world around you. See what's going on. Try to hold on to the message. Try to realize what Jesus has done for you, okay?